The Empire's underestimation. The Galactic Empire was vast, its influence spreading across thousands of star systems. It controlled planets, species, and resources with an iron fist. For centuries, it had dominated the galaxy, leaving little room for anyone to challenge its rule. Every race that came into contact with the Empire had either bowed down or been crushed into oblivion. Among the countless worlds the Empire had conquered, Earth was nothing more than a tiny speck in the vastness of the cosmos. The Empire didn't even take Earth seriously. It was a primitive, insignificant planet filled with weak, unadvanced beings. It had not yet mastered space travel on a grand scale and still relied on crude technology for most of its needs. To the Empire, Earth was not even worth the attention. At the heart of the Empire, on the towering spires of the Imperial Council, the leaders laughed at the idea of humanity posing any real threat. They had seen thousands of species rise and fall, and humanity was no different. Their small, insignificant fleet of ships was no match for the advanced technology the Empire wielded. To them, Earth was a curiosity, a place to mock, but never fear. Why are we wasting our time with this? They are barely even a nuisance, a high-ranking Imperial officer scoffed, watching a feat of Earth's outdated fleet in space. Let them play their games. We will crush them when the time comes. But there was something the Empire didn't know. Beneath the surface of Earth, far away from prying eyes, a plan was unfolding. A plan that would change everything. The Earth that the Empire thought they knew was nothing like it appeared. Beneath the veneer of a developing civilization, humanity had been preparing for a future where their place in the galaxy would no longer be in the shadows. For years, Earth's brightest minds had been working together in secret. Their technology was growing, evolving in ways the Empire could never have predicted. They had learned from their mistakes, improved their designs, and created something far more advanced than the Empire ever expected. A fleet of ships capable of moving through space, undetected by any known method of tracking. This fleet wasn't just invisible, it was undetectable by any form of Empire technology. Earth had discovered a new method of cloaking, one that could hide entire ships from the Empire's most sophisticated sensors. Every ship in this fleet had been designed with one goal: to strike when the Empire least expected it. But for now, the Empire remained unaware. The military leaders on Earth knew that they had to wait for the perfect moment to strike. Humanity had to build strength, gather its forces, and plan their next move. They couldn't afford to reveal their hand too soon. The Empire, meanwhile, continued to underestimate humanity, oblivious to the storm that was about to break. They laughed at Earth's puny attempts to defend itself, dismissed its growing power, and mocked the idea that a small planet like Earth could ever pose a threat to their might. On Earth, the silence was deafening. There were no signs of any kind of rebellion, no fleet in the sky to challenge the Empire. The Empire thought they were safe. They thought they had nothing to fear from this tiny, insignificant planet. But behind closed doors, the preparations were being made. Scientists, engineers, and military leaders from across Earth have been working tirelessly, hiding their progress from the Empire's prying eyes. Slowly, steadily, Earth was building a force capable of striking back at the heart of the Empire itself. The day would come when Earth would reveal its true strength, and when that day arrived, the Empire would be forced to confront a force they never saw coming. For now, the Empire remained confident. They had no idea that their hubris would soon be their downfall. They believed they had won, that humanity would never challenge them. They had forgotten the most important rule: never underestimate the power of a species fighting for its survival. As the Empire continued to scoff, they had no idea that this tiny, underestimated planet was preparing to change the course of galactic history. The invisible fleet was ready, and when it emerged from the shadows, the galaxy would never be the same again. The time for underestimation was over. The hidden Armada. The Galactic Empire was notorious for its ability to dominate, for its relentless expansion, and for its technological superiority. They had conquered countless civilizations, crushed rebellions, and quelled uprisings with swift, merciless force. The galaxy was theirs, and no one dared challenge their rule. But Earth was different. While the Empire had laughed at Earth's small fleet and primitive technology, there was something the Empire failed to notice: the silence. Earth's fleet had never been a grand sight, not in comparison to the vast armadas of the Empire. The humans didn't have the numbers, nor the massive warships, to threaten an empire that spanned the stars. But what the Empire didn't realize was that Earth had a different kind of power, one that wasn't visible to the naked eye. Deep within Earth's secret facilities, a project was unfolding in complete secrecy. While the Empire laughed, humanity's brightest minds were working tirelessly, building a fleet unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. These ships didn't need to be huge or heavily armed. They didn't need to appear in the vast emptiness of space. They only needed to be one thing: invisible. The humans had discovered a new way to cloak their ships, a technology so advanced, so precise, that no sensor in the galaxy could detect them. These ships were not just hidden from sight. They were undetectable by any form of energy signature, heat, or radiation. To the Empire, they didn't exist. On the outskirts of Earth's solar system, hidden from the prying eyes of the Empire's spies, these stealth ships were assembled in absolute secrecy. They were silent, unmoving, and deadly. Each ship was smaller than the Empire's behemoths, but it was built for one thing: to strike when the Empire least expected it. As the Empire focused on the constant expansion of its territory, Earth's fleet remained hidden in plain sight. The humans had learned how to use their own technology to outwit the Empire, to remain unseen and unheard by the vast sensors that scoured the galaxy. While the Empire busied itself with crushing weak civilizations and consolidating power, humanity was quietly preparing a weapon that would shake the very foundations of the Empire's rule. But Earth's fleet wasn't just about stealth. The ships had been designed with advanced weaponry and tactics, capable of taking on larger, more powerful enemies. Their stealth systems would allow them to move freely, strike with speed and precision, and retreat without ever being detected. Inside Earth's command centers, military leaders, scientists, and engineers watched the development of this fleet with quiet pride. They knew that their time would come. They knew the Empire's arrogance would be their downfall. The Empire had underestimated them, and now humanity was ready to show the galaxy what it had been hiding all along. The moment was approaching when Earth's hidden armada would rise from the shadows, when these silent ships would decloak and strike with the fury of a species that had been ignored for far too long. The Empire would be caught completely off guard. They would never expect the kind of power humanity had developed in secret. On Earth, the final preparations were underway. The last of the stealth ships were being equipped with the latest in advanced weaponry and technology. The crew members were trained, the coordinates set, and the plans locked in place. Everything was ready. And yet, the Empire remained unaware. They saw no threat from Earth. They saw no reason to fear this small primitive planet, but they would soon realize how wrong they were. As the first ships of the invisible fleet left Earth's orbit, the tension in the command centers was palpable. This was the moment they had been waiting for. This was the moment when Earth would show the galaxy that humanity was not weak, that humanity was not to be laughed at. The ships moved silently, slipping through space undetected, their cloaking technology working flawlessly. The Empire's sensors didn't even register their presence. The humans were not only hiding, they were moving with purpose, advancing toward the heart of the Empire's vast territory. The invisible fleet had been unleashed. But the question was, would the Empire ever know they were there before it was too late? The stage was set, and Earth's hidden armada was on its way. The Empire may have mocked humanity, but they had no idea what was coming for them. The first clash. The Galactic Empire had always prided itself on its advanced technology and unmatched military might. Its fleets, large and powerful, had crushed any opposition they encountered. The Empire's rule stretched across galaxies, a symbol of invincibility. To them, Earth was nothing. an insignificant planet with no chance of challenging their dominance. But Earth's secret armada had other plans. The invisible fleet had been carefully positioned, and the time had come for the first strike. The Empire had no idea what was coming. The planet that they thought was weak, the one they had laughed at, was about to show them the full extent of its hidden power. The stealth ships, cloaked in perfect invisibility, moved silently through the vastness of space. There were no signals, no disturbances in the electromagnetic field. To the Empire's advanced sensors, it was as if these ships didn't even exist. Humanity had spent years perfecting this technology, and now it was time to put it to the test. The first target was an Imperial supply station, a vital hub used to fuel the Empire's massive fleets. It was located on the edge of a quiet star system, far from the main lines of defense. The Empire thought the station was secure. No ships had passed through the area in weeks. They never suspected that a fleet of cloaked ships was silently approaching. As Earth's Armada drew near, the station's commanders remained relaxed, unaware of the danger lurking just beyond their reach. Then, without warning, the silence was broken. The first ship decloaked. The sudden appearance of the vessel sent a shockwave through the station's communication system. But it was too late. Before the Imperial officers could react, a barrage of precision fire from the stealth ship's weapon systems tore through the station's defenses. The station's shields flickered and failed under the relentless assault. The Empire's response was swift, but it was also uncoordinated. The station's defense systems were meant to protect against large, obvious threats, not against a small fleet of invisible attackers. The second ship decloaked, and then the third, all of them launching powerful strikes against the supply station. Within moments, the once secure Imperial hub was in ruins, its stations burning in space, and its once mighty defenses crumbling. Panic spread across the station as the officers tried to regain control, but it was too late. The invisible fleet was already moving to its next target. There was no time to retaliate, no time to send for reinforcements. The Empire's command was caught off guard. They hadn't even realized they were under attack until it was too late. In the heart of the Imperial fleet, senior commanders watched in disbelief as reports came in. The supply station, one of the Empire's most secure installations, had been destroyed by a fleet they didn't even know existed. The commander of the station, now frantic, tried to make sense of what had happened. How could this happen? We didn't see them. There was no warning. He shouted into the comms, but his words were empty, drowned out by the noise of the battle. The Empire's military forces began scrambling. They had no idea who was attacking them, let alone how they had managed to strike so swiftly. This was no ordinary rebellion. This was something far more dangerous. Whoever these attackers were, they had somehow bypassed the Empire's most advanced detection systems, using technology that the Empire had never seen before. The reality began to sink in. Humanity had found a way to fight back, and the Empire was completely unprepared for it. Meanwhile, on Earth, the hidden fleet continued its assault. The commanders and crew of the ships were calm, focused on the mission. They had known the risk of this operation, but they had also known that they were prepared. Their technology was superior in ways the Empire had never even imagined. The battle for the galaxy had just begun, and humanity was making its mark. As the first wave of Earth's fleet completed its strike, the Empire was left scrambling to understand what had just happened. Their forces were in disarray, and their confidence was shattered. The Galactic Empire had underestimated humanity once more, and this time, it would cost them. Back in the heart of the Empire, high-ranking officials gathered in a war room, now fully aware of the threat they were facing. Reports flooded in from the destroyed station. The enemy fleet was invisible. It was a fleet that couldn't be tracked, couldn't be fought using conventional methods. The Empire was facing a new kind of warfare, one they were not ready for. But the worst part was yet to come. This was just the beginning. The shockwave. The Galactic Empire had never experienced anything like this before. For centuries, It had ruled with unquestioned authority, crushing anyone who dared to challenge its power. Its fleets were unstoppable, its technology unmatched. But now, in the span of a few hours, its confidence had been shattered. Earth's invisible fleet had struck with precision and force, leaving the Empire's once invincible power in ruins. After the devastating attack on the supply station, reports of similar strikes began flooding in from across the Empire's outer territories. The hidden Armada had moved swiftly, devastating Imperial outposts and resource hubs with ruthless efficiency. In every battle, the same pattern emerged. The Empire's response was slow and ineffective, and Earth's fleet vanished before they could retaliate. On the battlefield, the Empire's commanders were in a state of confusion and panic. They had deployed their most advanced ships, their best-trained officers, and their most formidable defenses. But it wasn't enough. The invisible ships continued to strike, slipping past every sensor and detection system the Empire had at its disposal. Each attack was more damaging than the last, and with each victory, Earth's fleet grew bolder, more confident. Back in the Imperial capital, a council of military leaders, scientists, and strategists convened in a secure war room, their faces grim. They knew they were no longer facing a rebellion or a minor uprising. This was something far worse, a force they could not predict, let alone control. How are they doing this? One officer demanded, slamming his fist on the table. How are they hiding their fleet from us? The lead scientist, a man who had once prided himself on the Empire's technological superiority, stood in silence, his mind racing. He had no answers. Earth's technology was beyond anything they had ever encountered, and their ability to remain undetected was a game-changer. The scientist's voice was shaky when he finally spoke. "We've never seen anything like it," he admitted. "Their ships are using cloaking technology far more advanced than anything in our archives. Our scanners can't detect them. Not even our best tracking systems can pick them up. It's as if they don't exist." The words hung in the air, heavy and damning. The Empire had been caught completely off guard by an enemy it had considered nothing more than a nuisance. Earth, once thought to be a primitive, backward planet, had become an unstoppable force, and the Empire had no idea how to stop it. The attacks continued, relentless and unyielding. As each Imperial fleet fell to the invisible ships, the Empire's morale took a severe hit. Military officers, once proud of their unchallenged power, now looked over their shoulders in fear. The knowledge that Earth's fleet could be anywhere and strike without warning paralyzed them. In space, the invisible fleet moved like shadows, undisturbed by the chaos they had caused. Their missions were simple but devastating: cripple the Empire's ability to wage war, destroy its supply lines, and leave it reeling in shock. Earth's forces didn't need to defeat the Empire in one blow. They only needed to weaken it, bit by bit, until it was no longer able to fight back. But the Empire wasn't going to go down without a fight. As the fleet's strikes became more devastating, the Empire finally began to make plans for retaliation. They could no longer rely on their usual methods of tracking or defending. They needed new strategies, something, anything, to deal with these unseen enemies. The Galactic Empire had always thought of itself as unbeatable. But Earth's invisible fleet was proving that no empire, no matter how vast, was invincible. Humanity had tapped into something the Empire had never considered: the power of surprise. With each attack, the invisible fleet proved that the element of stealth could be just as deadly as sheer force. Yet, despite the growing chaos within the Empire's ranks, no one could yet say how long Earth's stealth fleet could keep up this war. The Empire's countermeasures were being developed as quickly as the attacks were launched, and the battle had just begun. The shockwave of Earth's strikes had rippled through the heart of the Empire, shaking its foundations. The Empire was no longer certain of its own strength, and in this uncertainty, Earth's chances of victory were growing stronger with each passing hour. But as the fleet continued its silent war, one question remained unanswered: How much longer could Earth's fleet stay hidden before the Empire finally figured out how to strike back? The answer was something the Empire was still too blind to see. Earth had been underestimated, but now that the shockwave had hit, there was no turning back. The Empire had started a war it never expected to fight, and Earth wasn't going to stop until it had won. The Empire's first move. The Galactic Empire had been rocked to its core. Earth's invisible fleet had attacked their supply stations, destroyed outposts, and left entire sectors in chaos. The strikes had come without warning, without any chance to prepare. No one in the Empire had expected an enemy they couldn't see, couldn't track, and couldn't fight. It was a nightmare, and one the Empire could no longer ignore. But the Empire wasn't finished. It wasn't going to let one small, hidden fleet bring it to its knees. After weeks of being struck in the dark, the Empire had finally made a decision. It had to respond, and it would do so with every resource it had. A fleet of the Empire's most advanced warships, heavily armed and fully prepared, was mobilized to search for the elusive enemy. They were going to find these invisible ships, no matter what it took. The plan was simple. Bring together the most advanced detection systems the Empire had, combine them with brute force, and hunt down the stealth fleet before it could strike again. They had been humiliated once, but they would not be humiliated again. The Empire's new fleet consisted of ships equipped with cutting-edge technology, including the latest sensor systems designed to detect cloaked vessels. The Empire had developed a special frequency, one that they believed could pierce through the stealth technology humanity had employed. They would use this frequency to flush out Earth's invisible fleet, and when they did, they would strike with overwhelming force. It wasn't going to be easy, but the Empire was determined. They had the technology, they had the numbers, and they had the arrogance that came with centuries of dominance. It was time to show Earth that they were nothing more than a fleeting threat. Meanwhile, Earth's fleet continued its operations, silently moving through the darkness of space. Each ship was still undetectable, still invisible to the Empire's sensors. But the crew of the invisible fleet knew that this moment was coming. They had anticipated that the Empire would eventually find a way to fight back. But they weren't afraid. They were ready. On board the flagship of Earth's fleet, the commanders gathered around a massive holographic display. They knew that the Empire would eventually deploy its new detection systems, and that their stealth technology could only protect them for so long. They had to act before the Empire could adapt. The orders were simple: strike hard, strike fast, and retreat before the Empire could regroup. The plan was to hit the Empire's most important shipyards and resource hubs, places where the Empire was building its next wave of warships. These were the lifeblood of the Imperial military, and if they could cripple them, they could slow the Empire's ability to respond. But as Earth's fleet moved deeper into Imperial space, tension mounted. The commanders knew that the Empire's new fleet was out there somewhere, searching for them. The stakes had never been higher. This wasn't just about striking a few vulnerable targets anymore. This was about survival. If the Empire's fleet found them, they would be in serious danger. They had no choice but to strike first. The first target was an Imperial shipyard, located on the edge of a densely populated star system. The shipyard was responsible for building some of the Empire's largest and most powerful ships. If the fleet could destroy it, the Empire's ability to wage war would be significantly weakened. The stealth ships crept closer, careful to avoid detection. They knew the Empire was getting better at tracking them, but Earth's fleet still had the advantage of surprise. The attack would be quick, precise, and devastating. As the fleet neared the shipyard, Earth's commanders gave the signal. The ships decloaked, appearing suddenly in the vast emptiness of space. The attack was swift. The first few shots from the cloaked ships ripped through the shipyard's defenses, sending debris and sparks flying in every direction. The Imperial ships stationed at the facility scrambled to respond, but they were too late. The damage was already done. Before the Empire's forces could regroup, Earth's fleet had already begun to retreat, disappearing back into the shadows of space. The shipyard was left in ruins, and the Empire's pride was wounded once again. In the aftermath of the attack, the Empire's high command was furious. Their new fleet had been outmaneuvered once again. They had believed that their advanced technology and overwhelming firepower would be enough to force humanity into submission, but it was becoming clear that Earth was not going to be so easily defeated. The Empire's commanders now knew they were in a race against time. The invisible fleet was still out there, still striking with precision and stealth. But they were starting to understand something they hadn't before. Earth's fleet wasn't just playing defense. They were on the offensive. They were fighting for survival. And if the Empire didn't act fast, they might lose more than just a few outposts and shipyards. The Empire had underestimated humanity once again. But now, they were learning a hard lesson. The war was far from over, and Earth's invisible fleet was proving to be a force unlike any the Empire had ever encountered. The Empire strikes back. The Galactic Empire was not accustomed to losing. For centuries, it had been the undisputed master of the galaxy, its power stretching across star systems, its fleets unchallenged. But in recent weeks, Earth's stealth fleet had turned that confidence into fear. No matter how many ships the Empire sent, no matter how many new technologies they developed, the invisible fleet continued to strike, disappearing before they could be caught. But now, the Empire had learned from its mistakes. The new fleet, built with the best the Empire had to offer, was ready for the next phase of the war. The Empire's top generals had developed a plan. They would hunt down Earth's invisible fleet using a combination of advanced sensors, enhanced military tactics, and brute force. This time, Earth's fleet would not escape. For the first time, the Empire had an advantage. Its new detection systems, designed to find ships that could cloak themselves, were working. The frequency it emitted was now able to cut through the stealth technology humanity had so carefully perfected. The Empire wasn't just searching blindly anymore. They were beginning to track Earth's fleet. It was a game changer. As the Empire's fleet mobilized, Earth's commanders knew they had only a short window of time before the tables turned. The Empire was getting closer, and their cloaking technology was no longer foolproof. The next few attacks would determine whether humanity could maintain its advantage, or whether the Empire would finally get the upper hand. The first target for Earth's fleet was an Imperial communications relay station, an essential facility that kept the Empire's fleets coordinated. If they could take it out, the Empire would lose its ability to communicate effectively, giving Earth's fleet the upper hand in the coming battles. The relay station was well defended, but Earth's stealth ships had already mapped out every inch of it, and they knew the exact moment to strike. As Earth's fleet moved into position, the commanders waited in tense silence. Their ships, invisible to all sensors, were only minutes away from the target. The plan was simple: hit the relay station with everything they had, disable its defenses, and then disappear before the Empire's fleet could react. They had done this before, and they could do it again. But this time, something was different. Just as the first wave of Earth's fleet decloaked and began its attack, a new force appeared out of nowhere. The Empire had anticipated Earth's move. A powerful counteroffensive fleet, equipped with the very same detection technology it had been previously used to track the invisible ships, emerged from the shadows of the station's orbit. For the first time, Earth's fleet was seen. The Empire's ships, massive and well-armed, surrounded the station, cutting off any possible escape routes. Earth's fleet, now exposed, was forced to fight or flee. The Empire's advantage was clear. With its new sensors online, it had finally caught up with Earth's fleet. The once invisible ships could now be tracked, and their position was no longer a mystery. But Earth's fleet didn't retreat. The battle was on. A violent exchange of firepower erupted between the two forces. Earth's stealth ships launched precision strikes against the Imperial fleet, using their advanced weaponry to tear through the enemy's defenses. But the Empire's ships were powerful, their shields nearly impervious to Earth's attacks. The battle raged, with both sides struggling to gain the upper hand. At first, it seemed as though the Empire's overwhelming firepower would win the day. Their ships were massive, their weapons devastating, and the invisible fleet was at a significant disadvantage now that they were visible. But Earth's commanders had planned for this moment. They had anticipated the Empire's counterattack, and they weren't going to back down. In the heat of the battle, one of Earth's commanders gave a signal. A series of cloaked ships moved into position, hidden just out of sight of the Empire's sensors. As the Empire's fleet focused its attention on the main attack, Earth's hidden ships struck, hitting vulnerable spots in the Imperial vessel's defenses. The Empire's fleet, though massive and powerful, had been caught in a trap. Earth's ships were small and nimble, able to exploit weaknesses that the Empire's larger ships couldn't protect. The once unstoppable Imperial warships were now taking heavy damage. But the Empire was relentless. Even though Earth's fleet had managed to inflict significant damage, the Empire wasn't going to stop fighting. It wasn't ready to concede defeat. More ships were on the way, and Earth's fleet was running out of time. The battle reached a fever pitch. Earth's fleet was being pushed to the limit, its stealth technology no longer the ultimate advantage it once was. Yet, as the Empire's reinforcements arrived, a spark of hope ignited among Earth's commanders. They had one last card to play. As the Empire's fleet continued to close in, Earth's commanders initiated a daring maneuver, an aggressive, coordinated retreat designed to confuse the Empire's sensors. They would feign total destruction, pulling back and allowing the Empire to think they had won. The Empire's forces, thinking the battle was over, began to celebrate their victory. They had finally tracked down and defeated Earth's fleet, or so they thought. But as the Empire lowered its guard, a sudden strike hit from the shadows once again. Earth's fleet had not been defeated. It had just begun its next phase of warfare. The final gambit. The Galactic Empire had finally caught Earth's invisible fleet, or so it thought. After weeks of brutal warfare, the Empire believed the tide had turned. They had found Earth's fleet, and they had launched a relentless counteroffensive, pushing humanity's forces to the brink of destruction. The Empire's mighty warships had torn through Earth's defenses, their firepower unmatched. The invisible ships, once the pride of humanity's fleet, were now visible to the Empire's advanced detection systems. The victory seemed certain, but in the quiet aftermath of the battle, as the Empire's commanders breathed a sigh of relief, something was missing. Earth's fleet had retreated, but no wreckage had been found, no remains of the once feared ships. The silence of space echoed in a way that felt wrong. In truth, Earth's fleet had not been destroyed. It had only been hiding. Humanity's final move was one the Empire could never have predicted. The Empire had been so focused on tracking the invisible ships, so sure of their own victory, that they had failed to notice a subtle shift in the battlefield. While they had been engaged in the battle, while they had believed the invisible fleet to be a dying force, Earth's fleet had quietly repositioned itself. In a strategic move that no one in the Empire had anticipated, Earth's fleet had placed a series of powerful, hidden weapons across key points in the galaxy, right in the heart of Imperial territory. These weapons, designed with the same stealth technology that had made the fleet so deadly, were now in place and ready to strike. The time had come for humanity's final gambit. As the Empire's commanders relaxed, unaware of the trap that had been set, the countdown began. At precisely the right moment, the weapons, massive energy pulses capable of disabling entire fleets, activated. The first pulse sent a shockwave through the heart of the Empire's fleet, temporarily disabling its sensors, shields, and communication systems. The second pulse hit a fleet of Imperial ships gathered in a nearby system, crippling their engines and leaving them drifting helplessly in space. Panic spread through the Empire's ranks as the invisible ships suddenly reappeared, decloaking in the heart of their territory. Earth's fleet had not been defeated. It had been biding its time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The invisible ships moved swiftly, their advanced weaponry targeting the now vulnerable Imperial ships. No longer just a fleet of stealthy attackers, Earth's forces had become an unstoppable force of destruction. The Empire's grand warships, once thought invincible, were now easy targets. They were sitting ducks in the vast expanse of space, unable to defend themselves against the fury of Earth's final attack. The Empire's response was chaotic. Without their communications and sensors, their fleet was disorganized, their military leaders scrambling to figure out what was happening. But it was too late. The damage had already been done. One by one, the Empire's ships fell. They were outmaneuvered, outgunned, and caught completely off guard. Earth's invisible fleet had turned the tide of the war in a single decisive strike. But the battle wasn't over. Earth's fleet, with its weapons still at the ready, had only begun to weaken the Empire's grip on the galaxy. In every system, in every sector, Earth's ships were cutting down the Empire's forces. The relentless power of humanity's ingenuity had been unleashed. And with each victory, the Empire's once proud forces began to crumble. The unshakable confidence of the Empire's leadership was replaced with fear. Fear of the unstoppable, invisible force that had risen from the ashes of humanity's struggle. The Galactic Empire had made a fatal mistake. They had underestimated humanity. They had thought that Earth's fleet would be easily destroyed, just another rebellion to crush. But instead, Earth's final gambit had left the Empire reeling, its power fractured, and its military shattered. Humanity had won, not through sheer force alone, but through cleverness, patience, and an unwavering will to survive. As Earth's invisible fleet stood victorious, one question remained: what would the Empire do now? Would it surrender, or would it continue to fight? One thing was certain: the war had changed forever. The galaxy was no longer the Empire's to control, and humanity's place in the stars had been firmly secured.